Aloha and welcome everyone once again to another special rebroadcasted edition of a recent Ibble event. This Ibble event is about understanding and experiencing light language. It was co-hosted with myself and our good friend Isabelle, aka Reflection Frequencies on Instagram and Reflections 555 on Ibble. And so once again, this is the Ibble events. If you're not familiar with these, this is an app that myself and fellow conscious creators within our community, we've been working alongside Ibble to be able to help be ambassadors, to be able to help bring more conscious community onto the app. And we're also in the process of hosting ongoing exclusive events on Ibble. So I've been helping them get all set up on the app. And again, just really being able to explore the app together as a team. So this is I think our like fourth or fifth official Ibble event so far, and as always, it's a super interesting experience to be able to co-create using this platform. It's a basic format is people can submit 60-second videos to be able to create their own threads and discussions, and then users can be able to contribute their own 60-second video or audio replies to be able to add to threads beyond space and time. So during the live events, the way it works is that we will set up the event, invite people to be able to contribute their responses ahead of time, and then when the event is live, we're basically producing this very, very neat, again, kind of co-created experience where we're interweaving previously submitted responses with our own live video recorded responses as well, and then people are also adding their new responses into the mix during the live event. So it's very unique. It creates an awesome opportunity for us to be able to collaborate and co-create as a community. And with that said, I'll just again play the recording here, and if you haven't already yet, go ahead and join not only myself but also the fellow conscious creators on Ibble. I've created a very convenient companion guide, a startup guide that you can find in the info for this video, tinyurl.com/ either join Ibble or / Mystic Spider-Man on Ibble. And with that, you'll also find the links to my recent threads and events, and also the links to the profiles for the other conscious creators on Ibble as well. So go ahead, check that out, give us a follow, and join in, because again, we're going to be doing lots of ongoing events there, and we'll be keeping you posted with updates through the Discord. So between the Discord and having the app installed, there will be plenty for you to be able to interact with. And thank you as always for your support, and we're excited for you to be able to experience Ibble for yourself. So with that said, I'll be back at the end of this recording, and this is going to be an opportunity for you to just be able to kind of like hear the playback and listen to this kind of like a podcast in itself. And it may be a little glitchy here and there, but nonetheless, you'll get the experience, and we hope to be able to see you on Ibble soon enough. So playing the recording, and enjoy, and please feel free to leave your comments and let me know if you ever have any questions about connecting on Ibble. So just a quick reminder, I do live events on Ibble every Wednesday at 8 p.m. EST. Appreciate everybody. Thank you to our Patreon supporters. And here is understanding and experiencing light language. And oh yeah, I'll also like through this episode, you also like get to hear me practice some of my own light language. So if you haven't heard that before, stay tuned. You're gonna be able to experience that for yourself. All right, enjoy. Talk to you guys later. Much love. Welcome everyone once again to another very special event here on Ibble to be able to help assist and accelerate the collective shift in consciousness. This week's event is about being able to understand light language. Now, what is light language? You've probably seen videos of people doing it. It's kind of like speaking in tongues, but it's much more than that. Now, I personally am not an expert of light language. I understand it, but our good friend Isabelle is going to be with us for this event, for her to be able to not only tell us a little bit more about light language, but also to be able to share it so that you can experience it for yourself. So if you're curious to learn more about light language, then please tune in for this event. But also, as a part of what makes Ibble so great, we want you to be able to submit your responses ahead of time to not only ask your questions about light language, but also to maybe even share some of your own understanding and experience with light language, and also to be able to submit your own contributions of light language ahead of time. So go ahead, hit those responses, and thank you so much for joining us once again for another amazing event here on Ibble. Much love.
Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to this portal. I am so excited to be here to be sharing a little bit about light language and my experiences with light language and kind of what it means to me. And so light language is a beautiful way of expressing energy and intentions. And as creators, as powerful creators, each of us, our sound is very potent. And sound actually resonates with water, as many of you know. And our cells are made of water. On a molecular level, we are 99% water. And so the sound mixed with our intentions really is able to move energy and allow for more new, beautiful energy and intentions to flow through and replace what has been stagnant in our water body and bring through new, harmonious love and beautiful light. So I'm going to share a little bit of light language on my next response. And so I just ask that you come into this present moment fully in your heart, breathing in beautiful light, beautiful energy in through your nose. And exhaling with a sigh if it feels good to you, but just allowing yourself to be open to receive. Ekua and apuente shenehesiaranda kana kiandulu uturukurkuatarakarkurkuanda shanasi shuruhuru harakande heneshime surhuruhurukua al as anasambaseneshe Shasana samakata as akuar akate enese shusara hatana chantokuata lasani antai sata. I'd love to know, as you were listening just to that short bit, was there anything that maybe you felt in your body? Sometimes people will receive images. It's different for everybody, and sometimes like nothing happens, and that's okay. Just know that none of the sounds need to be interpreted by the mind, but rather felt and received by the heart and the spirit, as your heart knows its meanings innately. And yeah, I'm just so grateful to be here. So excited to be sharing this beautiful form of expression, and so excited and curious to see what people think, people's experiences with it on their own. Some people, like, they'll hear me speak and they're like, oh, I used to do that as a kid and I didn't even know, and all these different things. And so I'm just so blessed and so blessed to be here to be sharing, and I'm curious, what do you guys think?
Aloha everyone, and welcome to another consciousness expanding event here on Ibble. This week's topic is understanding and experiencing light language. Of course, if you've seen the videos before the start of the event, this is going to be co-hosted with our good friend Isabelle, who is a practitioner of light language. And I myself, I've been around light language. I'm definitely fascinated with it. I've definitely dabbled in it a little bit myself. And so for this event tonight, we have plenty of amazing questions that have already been submitted by members in the community. So we'll be going through those questions, but we'll also be demonstrating some light language. I'll be participating. Isabelle will be participating. We have some members in the community that have submitted their responses ahead of time as well. And we want you, not just right away, but maybe as you go through this event, to even practice submitting your own version of light language if you feel called. So again, throughout this event, either during it or after it, go ahead and use the Q&A feature to be able to ask questions, submit your responses, and we have so much exciting information to be able to share with you. So I'm going to pass over to Isabelle, and she's going to welcome you into the space as well.
Beautiful souls, welcome into this portal of light. Antaya sanaha shakurua atana ampua rehe tua satashe. If you've never heard light language before, or this is your first time as you tune into this event, prepare to have your mind expanded a little bit. And try to stay out of your mind as much as possible. Try to be in your heart and receive, as there is so much energy that you could potentially utilize and receive and move throughout your body if you just just kind of be in your heart and open to feeling it. And so I'm sending so much love to everybody tuning in. I'm so excited to play back the responses and to hear all the lovely, beautiful questions and respond to them, go deep a little bit. And so, yeah, stay tuned in. There's lots of fun that's about to occur. And I'm passing it back to Brendon. Beautiful.
Thank you again, Isabelle, so much for being able to create this space together. And so, yeah, just some quick intentions, housekeeping, and introductions. Again, the intention of this space is for us to really be able to learn and grow together. You know, for those of you who may be really interested in exploring some of these metaphysical topics, this is a space for us to be able to come together and to be able to connect and share our excitement while continuing to kind of like learn and deepen that knowledge into a place of experience as well. So just some quick housekeeping. Again, for any of the events that we are doing here, for any of the videos that we post, feel free to spark them if you would like to be able to create a new thread on your profile, and then Isabelle and I will be able to reply to that after this event. And again, feel free to submit your questions and your responses using the Q&A feature directly to this event, again, while we're live or afterwards, and we will continue to respond there as well. Quick introductions. Again, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Brendon, Mystic Spider-Man. I've been creating conscious media for 1 million years. I facilitate the Paradigm Shift Central community, a community of conscious creators and spiritual seekers. And feel free to send me a direct message if you guys want to connect with me further. Passing back to Isabelle for her to introduce herself as well.
Thank you so much for the introduction, Brendon. I'm so happy to be here. If you don't know me, my name is Isabelle, and I am a quantum healer. I am a Reiki master and intuitive medium. I also offer light language and sound healing, and I'm also a hypnotherapist. So I've just been trying to study, and I'm still learning. You know, we're always the student, right? And so I just love to share some of the things that I've learned along the way and to work with people and help them with some of the knowledge that I've used to really assist myself. And also light language has been a huge part of my journey. It just really assists with so much that sometimes just can't be explained in the English language or in human languages. It's just a beautiful center of expressing and just allowing yourself to be seen and heard, and it's really shifted so much, more than I ever expected. And so thank you for having me. Passing it back. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Isabelle. And yes, for everyone here, definitely inviting you to be able to connect with Isabelle. She's pretty awesome. And yeah, with that said, we're going to get right into, again, just kind of like the core theme of today's event. And we're assuming that there are people watching this who don't really know much about what light language is. So let's just take a moment here for any of our events to just kind of like check in with our heart. So just feel free to just join me as we just literally just take like one quick little like mindful breath together. So just allow yourself, just maybe put your hands on your heart if you want, close your eyes, relax. Just go ahead and take a nice, soft, gentle breath. Nice, soft exhale, bit of a sigh. Beautiful. Just carry this vibration, carry this gratitude with you as you tune in for the beautiful wisdom that we are sharing here today. When you're ready, you can gently open your eyes. So to start things off, I'm going to pass it to Isabelle. I'm going to ask the general question, what is light language? Let's hear what she has to say.
Question. Light language is a beautiful way of connecting to energy, more specifically connecting to the essence of your soul, as well as channeling through divine intelligence for other people or for yourself with any specified intention. There's so much that we can do with light language, but it's really a heart-based frequency transmission of energy that is able to interfere or interact or impact the water that is in our bodies and move a lot of stagnant energy and create a flow once again where maybe it was stagnant or energies were blocked, because sometimes over time we develop crystal deposits in our meridians that actually blocks energy from moving completely. And so there's so much that light language can do. It also is very good for the nervous system and rewiring, coming back into calmness, into the ease and bliss of your soul. And so it's a beautiful way of connecting.
So I'll add my own interpretation of light language as well. And again, you know, first of all, like when we're talking about language, like obviously there's a core element of sound vibration. But again, you know, one of the things we'll explore tonight is the idea that, well, language isn't just, you know, what we use through our voice. Language is also like through our hands, and it's also our physical body, our expression. So when I think of light language, my interpretation of light language is, again, it's really being able to connect with the creative energy that flows through us. And so again, you know, like this energy, like what is this energy? It's like something that's kind of like outside outside of us and inside of us at the same time. It moves through us. So again, light language is a practice, it's a practice that can not only kind of like clear blockages, energy blockages, but it's also a very, very powerful form of like self-expression. And again, just through this idea that like it's kind of like there's like codes that are kind of worked into it, and some people talk about how it kind of like activates something dormant within them. Light language is a very mysterious thing, and I don't think we need to have one single answer, but I'll pass it back to Isabelle and she'll tell you a little bit more.
Yes, beautifully said, Brendon. There are so many different ways of perceiving and connecting to energy. And so there are so many different ways that people can understand light language, or some could just think that I'm like making things up, which is totally fine. It's what people are able to perceive and understand in this moment with the current awarenesses that they have. Some people who never thought that this could be a thing really feel it in their body, and it's undeniable when I start bringing it through. And so light language is literally just a way to express energy, almost like Reiki, but through sound. And I really love using this for myself personally, daily, like whenever I need it, as well as for others that are around me and that love it as much as I do. And so yeah, great little introduction. I'm excited to keep flowing, and I'm gonna pass it back. Yes.
Absolutely. So we're going to start getting into our responses from our community members shortly. And again, like I think the general idea, as Isabelle was saying, is that light language is something to be experienced. It's not just what is light language, it's what is light language to you. It's not something that we can simply just kind of like put in a box and try and define it as a complete understanding. It is something that is meant to be interpreted through your heart space, through your energetic body. So that's where, again, with a lot of people, they'll hear light language and be like, whoa, like what was that? Like, it's like, oh, like maybe it like reminded me of something from like Atlantis or Lemuria in a past life, or maybe it just kind of like took me to a space within my own body. Light language can be like this vehicle to be able to kind of like move our spirit. There's so many tools and ways to be able to work with light language, and I'm here to learn alongside each and every single one of us as well. So with that said, we're going to get into our responses. Go ahead, continue to add your responses, and let's hear from Brianna first. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. Absolutely.
Hi, Brendon. Hi, Isabelle. Thank you for this awesome topic. Light language has always fascinated me, and I've definitely had certain experiences within my own life where I have spoken light language or spoken in tongues, and I know that it's similar. But Isabelle, while you were doing your demonstration, I definitely had this like rainforest download vibe, and I want to learn more about light language because it's always fascinated me. And I always get intuitive downloads when I tune into somebody who's speaking in light language. And I get sometimes even chills throughout my body. And I like the connection that you made to our bodies being made of water, and how water has this intelligence and how we can move energy through our bodies. So kind of reminded me of how a baby first learns to talk and they just start talking right away and you kind of know what they're saying.
Thank you so much for your response, Brianna. I have heard other people mention similar things before, that once they receive light language, they just start getting downloads, or visuals will start to come through, and it will be a moment of divine communication where they will just feel this energy come through, where they either hear it or they just know or they see it. And so I love that you saw the rainforest. That is so beautiful. Could have so many different meanings and interpretations, and yeah, I'm so glad that you were able to feel it with the chills. That's often an activation symptom as well. And it's our body does that. Well, I think Brendon was actually one of the first people that I heard really talking about that it's like truth bumps. It's our body really resonating with the frequencies coming through. And so I love to hear that, and I'm beaming so much love. Thank you so much for the response. And I'm going to pass it to Brendon.
Thank you so much, Brianna, for your response, and Isabelle again as well. It's interesting, again, with the topic of light language, a lot of people, like, maybe they've like experienced it and they didn't really have a name for it. It's kind of interesting because, like, I feel like the concept of light language is almost kind of become like a recent kind of like trend. It's kind of like showing up through the evolution of social media, and a lot of conscious creators naturally wanting to be able to share their gifts, and then suddenly like hashtag light language kind of like showed up one day, and suddenly people are like, oh, like I do that too, and I didn't even know that was a thing, and I didn't even know other people were doing that. So there's no like clear instruction manual on light language. So again, as a community, we get to be able to figure it out, and I think by connecting the dots on our experiences, that's the best way to do it. I love the idea that, again, just going back to our previous event of meditation, when you're allowing yourself to kind of like be in your center and you're open to being able to receive, it can really just kind of like have these, again, visceral activation sensations. So excited to talk more about this. We're going to hear from Kristen next.
Hello, Brendon. Hello, Isabelle. Thank you so much for this amazing discussion topic on light language, and thank you for that beautiful transmission. It felt absolutely heart-centered and inspiring. So my understanding of light language is that it is a form of channeling. It is a energetic healing. It helps activate DNA upgrades as well as awaken your soul knowledge. And so for me in my practice, I utilize light language to be able to help move energy in a different way in my healing ceremonies, as well as to be able to sometimes vocalize messages that don't need to be expressed with words, but so much as spoken to you on a soul level. And so I'm so excited to hear everyone's expressions today and to be able to connect with light language in this absolutely new, amazing way with each and every one of you. Hello.
Hi there, Kristen. Thank you so much for your response, and absolutely yes to everything that you said. I completely agree. I definitely use it for a lot of those same reasons, and I especially love what you said about expressing messages sometimes that don't really need to be said in human words, but can transpire between us from soul to soul, and like you really feel that depth as well when you bring through the energy and you're connecting in that way. And so I love all that you said. I definitely 100% resonate and agree. It really flushes energy through the body like no one's business. And so yeah, I'm gonna let Brendon respond now, but love the answer. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you, Kristen, for your response. Lovely to be able to have you here, and Isabelle. And yeah, I'm gonna get kind of weird here because again, just kind of like piecing together parts of the puzzle as we're talking about this. It's fascinating because, again, with light language, it's kind of like this idea. It's like, well, why do we call it light language? It's this idea that kind of it's a language beyond our language. So it's like a language of the soul. It's a language of the spirit. It's a language of emotion. It's a language of, like our ancestors and aliens and beyond, right? It's a language that's kind of like outside of any confines. And so what's interesting, again, like when you start exploring the concepts of light language, it really becomes basically like this vehicle for emotion, for emotion. And so, like, even though it's just like, oh, the words, they don't mean anything to me, but the words still become a carrier wave for the intention of the emotion. So, like you can speak something in the form of light language and you can have the intention of be like, oh, this is designed to be able to calm you or something like that. Let's hear from Natasha next.
Brendon, Isabelle, it's so great to see you. Thank you for hosting this. This is a dope topic. I actually know very, 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 very little about light language, so I'm super excited to learn more about it. My question for you is, what are the benefits of light language, of practicing light language? Is that the right verbiage? Yeah, and I'm also curious what it feels like as you speak it. Like, what's happening in your body as you're speaking it? Does it feel as healing to you as it is for the receiver? Just anything and everything. I'm super curious. Much love. Thank you guys in advance. Peace. Brendon.
Thank you so much for your response, Natasha. I love you and your beautiful energy. And yes, there are so many different benefits to light language. It really allows for this expression of so many different kinds on so many different levels. Once you just allow yourself to really embody your voice and just make sound, it unlocks so much within yourself as well, because this vibration is vibrating through your entire water body. And so there's so many different benefits benefits to light language. I definitely feel it as I bring it through. Sometimes when people are kind of closed off and in their heads a little bit about it and they don't receive it, like I'm receiving it a little bit more than they are. Like I feel it so strongly. It's like undeniable sometimes. And so I really do love connecting for so many reasons, but for so many different like abilities that it brings through and unlocks and brings online as well, like just expression. So passing it back. Thank you.
Thank you, Natasha, again for this beautiful question. And again, I can speak from a bit of experience. Again, you know, like for me, light language is very similar to flowetry, freestyle poetry. This is something that I practice, freestyle song. But again, you know, it's just basically this idea of like kind of like energy moving through you and expressing itself with intention. So the feeling of doing, again, any version of channeling, it can be very, again, kind of like a practice of kind of like using a muscle that maybe you haven't used before. And so for a lot of people, you know, our throat chakras have been very closed off for various reasons. So to be able to practice something like light language can be very liberating, can be very freeing. It can feel like kind of like stepping into a new part of yourself. You get to meet a new part of yourself through the practice of light language, which is very powerful. So, you know, it's going to be different for everyone. And I think it's one of those things where it's like you won't know until you kind of practice doing it. And maybe you don't want to practice doing it, but maybe you're just open to receiving, and that's going to be an experience in itself. And yeah, absolutely. I think through the process of that, it can be healing. Let's hear from Luna next.
Hi, Brendon and Isabelle. Thank you guys for having this event. I love both of you guys. This is freaking exciting. So, I have a question. Light language. Is it specific to any star system or no? Also, how do you tap into the light language abilities? Like, how do you begin to do that?
Hi Luna, welcome to this event. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your beautiful energy and voice. Light language is a very universal way of connecting. I've heard other people, their kind of perceptions as well, is just that it's in a lot of star systems. And as I connect to it, I definitely feel so many different things going on. And so I don't think it's specific to one star system, but is used in a lot of different star systems. I don't know all of them, but definitely a lot. And light language, you really just have to allow yourself to make noise. And it might feel funny and weird at first, but when you just start and allow noise to move through you, you'll remember, like, you have connected to this before. I guarantee you probably on another timeline somewhere you're speaking it all cool. And so just start making noise. Passing it back to Brendon. Hi.
Thank you, Luna. I love having you here. And again, for all the people that are asking questions and stuff today, for all you watching, go follow them. They're all amazing conscious creators and spiritual seekers as well. So again, kind of taking a moment here to be able to reply to your question. Is it from a specific star system? It's interesting because, again, you know, in the practice of doing it, I think it's kind of like a chance for us to kind of like connect into like our higher self, or, you know, just like the bigger parts of who we are. And again, the bigger parts of who we are, I think is like us connecting to that bigger stream of consciousness that flows through everything. But with that, like this stream of consciousness is almost kind of like a tree of consciousness. So when you start thinking about, you know, you start getting into the details of what light language is, you know, it's this idea that like our vehicle, our body, is like an antenna. And then we have the ability to kind of like attune our frequency to certain signals. Are those signals coming outside of us? Are they coming from within us? I think it's a bit of both, and we'll explore a little bit about that later. Before we go any further, though, we're actually going to take a moment here to just talk a little bit about how to do light language, and Isabelle and I, we're going to demo it. And yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for being here.
All right, beautiful souls. And so to get in this space for yourself, I invite you to just take a few deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. And just allow yourself to begin to connect with your sound as you breathe. And you may start to move your body. And just begin to make sound as you breathe, and do this for a little bit. And as you kind of get into that mode, maybe you just start to make other noises like and just start to make noise. Just make noise, however feels good to you. It doesn't have to look like anything in particular. Keep breathing with these energies. You may start to move your body in circles as you breathe, and just and just so you know, feel free to, whatever is coming through for you, please submit your own response. But I'm going to go ahead and start bringing through some light language to just kind of show you what it could be like. It absolutely can be your own thing. Atuahana shura atanka sente shuraka tu anda wukasana. Sharakatuata nahashi, asenete ushuata, adia maulukuruata sanasa atiashene, ekiatana achurahata muahan saneshir, hashura hashana atiasa, ashier, asi. Keep.
Thank you so much, Isabelle. And again, for those of you watching this, I'm going to coach you a little bit about light language as well. I'll share a little bit of my own practice of light language, and we hope that through you watching this, we're inviting you to be able to practice submitting your own light language as well. So go ahead and submit that now or in the future. We'll add it into the event as we do it. And so just some quick tips that I want to be able to share to be able to help you kind of like get in the zone. Really approach this as play. You know, I think if you can kind of like think of it almost as like multi-dimensional scat, where it's like skibidi-bop-bop-doo-da and then you just kind of like change it around a bit and stuff like that. That's kind of where it starts, and you can just kind of like feel things out as you go. It's a journey, you know, where light language is currently for you may be completely different as you kind of like continue to refine it and crystallize it over time. So before we get into it, you know, one thing I would just say is just imagine this clear stream of water kind of like running through you, and any blockages, just kind of take them and just dissolve them and wash them away. So stand by, I'll share a little bit of my own. So I'm just going to kind of practice here, just kind of do my own thing, not even try explaining it, just feeling it for myself. So Salunta, Kaliasa Karunta, Sintu Kalasa Sankala Tintu, Kola Sinta Hantu Sitha Tinka, Swanti Kalasuta Quinto So. Si la tonquista salacontita, sonti salacala sota, wonta halantu, su kalanta, sompa kalanti saha hamta. Feeling those tingles, man. Feel free to leave some comments on this. How did that feel for you? I'm gonna pass it back to Isabelle. We're just gonna chat a bit before moving forward.
Thank you so much, Brendon. That was beautiful. I definitely got chills over here, as well as feeling some crown chakra stuff going on as well. So if anybody else felt anything during that, please let us know, as well as please connect to this with yourself. And even if you're not uploading a response, which you totally can and should, but if you're not quite comfortable with that yet, then just make noise with yourself and allow yourself to witness self and express. It's such a beautiful, potent way of shifting and activating and expanding consciousness. And so much love passed through right now with all these frequencies, and we're gonna pass it to Kristen because she uploaded her own response, and I'm so excited to hear it.
For you, a light language transmission from my fairy guides. Yeglia, sie, vieni, yalo viajo, kiesi, yalo vahiani, washivihe, kia fuiva, yekia muya, subietie, yalia viseni kia sibia, iliasia, ma, tia, viena hai, klihe, liki, wahiha, ya. Ilikiana Sibia. Yakrao, Siaviani,
Wow, that was so special. Thank you so much, Kristen. And again, for everyone here, just really inviting you to be mindful of the fact that, like light language is something that simply by listening to it, you are participating in it. So what was your experience with that from Kristen's, from mine, from Isabelle's? And we actually have another one to be able to share from our good friend Sifu Boggie, who we're bringing into this event through the magic of technology. And some of you have heard Sifu's before. And again, with all this, I just want you to kind of take a moment to kind of like appreciate the different styles, the different kind of like versions of light language that move through us. And again, allow you to be able to figure out maybe what your version sounds like, for you to discover it, to uncover it, and to know that there could be multiple versions as well. Again, it's such a dynamic and a very artistic thing. So give yourself the opportunity to play. And in the meantime, here's a very special light language transmission from Sifu Boggie. Thank you so much, Sifu, for your contribution. And again, Sifu, a master of Qi, a master of the Tao. And if you haven't connected with him, be sure to do that. You can find him on Instagram at Sifu Boggie. And Sifu has actually submitted 2 other responses just explaining a little bit more about light language from his experience, from his wisdom. So without further ado, we're going to play those 2 clips back to back. And then from there, we'll bring it back to Isabelle. And then from there, we're going to be continuing to go through more of the questions that you have submitted to this event. And again, reminder that by the end, if you have submitted your own practice of light language, we will play those a little bit later, closer to the end of the event. So this is a beautiful experience. Thank you everyone again so much for creating it, and let's hear a little bit more from what Sifu has to share.
Hello, Sifu here. So a quick understanding, or my understanding, of light language, or I know it as light code. So light code is an ancient system, an ancient translation, and it can be words, can be sounds, but it can also be movement, information, pictures, dance, action. In fact, light code is a lot of people, a lot of artists were said to have channeled this information, channeled their artwork, or musicians, their melodies. So the idea of light code has been around for many millennia, and it is it's a translation of the universe, a coding from the universe that you receive. Sometimes you can understand it, sometimes it's just meant to feel. And a quick part 2. So the Dragon Dog Shaman light code again has been around for at least, the Dragon Dog Shaman themselves have been around for at least 10,000 years according to certain people. And it was a channeling of the universe, a channeling of the divine feminine, the divine masculine, the sacred child. And they did it in a certain way. They would start off with a certain few sayings, and then they would let the energy flow. But there's another version of light code or light language, and it's in Qigong, energizing exercise. It's called spontaneous Qigong. And Qigong itself is like a symbol. It's different symbols, like Reiki symbols, different symbols. And the ultimate Qigong is flowing, spontaneous Qigong, free-flowing light code in Qigong. That's it. I'm Chin Chin. Boggie out.
Thank you so much, Sifu, for all of the value that you just added. I loved your light language. It was like space, definitely cosmic vibes. I loved it so much, so thank you. And we still have so much to dive into today. We're gonna get into a question here by Cami coming up, and so stay tuned to continue to dive deep. And thanking everybody who's answered and participated so far. Thank you.
Hi, Isabelle and Brendon. Thank you so much for inviting me to this wonderful event. It's such a cool topic. I love light language. I love doing ecstatic ecstatic dancing, excuse me. Doing with my hands. I don't talk so much. I don't talk, but I do it like on my own. And my question to you, Isabelle, is usually do you channel from the same frequency, or do you or the same higher beings, or do you not know exactly, or I don't know, do you control that?
Thank you so much for submitting this response, Cami. I definitely bring through light language spontaneously when I need it, when I'm feeling any type of way and I just want to express that energy and let it be transmuted, come back into my soul's essence, into that love. And so, yeah, light language comes through spontaneously when it's needed, as well as it's so potent and powerful when I just sit down with intentions, calling upon beautiful support as well. And so, light language, also, sometimes I connect with so many different parts of myself, and so it depends. Sometimes I can connect with specific parts of myself, like dragon energy, for example, or sometimes it comes through quite shamanic. Sometimes it feels very cosmic, and so there's so many different parts of myself that I feel like are just cumulated into this one being now, me, and it comes through differently. So passing it to Brendon now to respond. Thank you.
Thank you again, Cami. Beautiful question. And so again, are we choosing? Is it spontaneous? Again, I think, with light language, it's we're controlling kind of the set and setting. We're controlling the steps that we create to make the container, and then it's the process of, again, kind of being able to just be open to receiving. I think what we are controlling is our ability to mindfully not get caught up within our own kind of mental blockages. That's a big part of practice with light language and channeling and things like that. Intuitively, there might be a part of us that'll just be like, this is stupid, this is silly, this is ridiculous, and then we kind of cut the cord. Transmission stops. So what we are controlling is, again, just kind of the willingness to be able to be open to receive. And again, also the willingness to just be able to say okay, and ready to close off the transmission and kind of bring myself back to, speaking normally and fully in this conscious state as well. And then again, are you choosing to tune in? Again, it's almost it's there's different flavors and archetypes that we're tuning into. Lots more to talk about, but let's hear from Kristen next, who's got a great question.
Brendon and Isabelle, my question for you on this beautiful discussion topic such as light language is, how did you come to find light language, and how have you found incorporating it into your journey has affected your path? And I also would love to hear from anyone in the chat that is joining this beautiful conversation. And have you played with light language? Have you expressed any versions, or have you been drawn to it and been unable to express? And what makes you feel the block between being able to express it freely and holding back for yourself?
Hi there, Kristen. Thank you so much for all of your responses today. So light language came onto my path fully, I would say December 2020, the great big solstice. I had spoken it a little bit before without really realizing what I was doing. And then I saw a video on good old TikTok and I was like, whoa, I do this, and it was really cool. I then practiced with a Reiki friend, and then he inspired me to show my mentor, and then I just kept going from there. And so it's been a beautiful, beautiful path. And so I also really love the question, what may block people from connecting to it. And I would say there's lots of different things. Like they could be really just closed down in the throat chakra and that connection and expression, or the heart, which would also impair, or we've been persecuted for this before. So there's many different things and layers, but I would love to hear what Brendon has to say. Hi there.
Thank you again, Kristen, for your contribution. So my response to this, how did I discover light language? Yeah, I think it was just kind of like something that like just over the last couple of years I saw other people posting videos about it, and then right away I was just like, oh, okay, like that's a thing now, like that's something that people are doing. And again, it was really fascinating to see more and more people kind of like doing it, people who hadn't even talked to each other, and just kind of like seeing it emerge within the web of consciousness, which is super, super cool. And again, just kind of like knowing that it does have like a history. I know there's some questions kind of coming up where it's like is it related to like speaking in tongues and stuff. I think different cultures, different spiritual practices probably do have their own versions of, again, kind of like light code transmission. And again, like what is light code? Well, what is light? Light is information. So again, it's a transmission of information in a simple way. So, that's how it came into my path. And I think the blockages actually, again, kind of like run deep into our cultural programming. A lot of people, again, just have trouble expressing themselves without feeling like they're being judged. Let's hear from Silamon next. Thank you.
Hello, Brendon. Hello, Ibble. Hello, everybody. My question is speaking in tongues the same thing as light language? And if not, what might be the similarities or differences between those two?
So thank you so much for this question. This is actually something that I've been asked multiple times, and I did grow up with a little bit of Christian influence, and so something that I know of that it says in the Bible about tongues is that it must be translated in order for it to be like acceptable. And essentially I don't think it really needs to be. I think sometimes there is kind of a message or translation that wants to come through that's being expressed from being to being, soul to soul, but a lot of times it's just a frequency transmission that is felt and received by the heart innately, so it really doesn't need that mind connection. But from what I've experienced, it is similar. They are talking, I think, about the same things. And so, yes and no is my answer to that. And we'll see what Brendon has to say about this.
Thank you for the question, Silamon, and I'll just take a note here. Again, we're getting closer to the end of the event, so for anybody, again, if you guys want to submit your own light language practice, please go ahead and do that, either during or after the event. And again, even if you just want to upload a video to be able to share any gratitude as well. And yeah, this has been awesome. So Silamon's question is light language the same as speaking in tongues? Yeah, again, I guess like it is and it isn't. I can't really say that I'm an expert on like kind of like the whole history and culture of speaking in tongues. But when you think about it, like what is speaking in tongues? Speaking in tongues, from what we interpret it as, is basically the idea that like someone is kind of like speaking as like a channel for God, as a channel for source, as a channel for a message. And so, it's kind of like this idea that, some people would be like, oh, it's like the language of an angel or something kind of speaking through us, and simply through hearing it, something would happen. So again, I think it kind of like is, but I think so much of light language is also, again, kind of like the intention. So it doesn't have to be as crazy as speaking in tongues, but it can be your own thing. Let's hear from Lacey next. Thank you.
Is light language an intuitive knowing, or do you feel that it is something that comes from outside yourself? Do you channel it, or is it intuitive?
Hi, Lacey. Such a beautiful question. Both. Sometimes it's very intuitive, like when I'm doing it personally for myself and I'm just like bringing energy through and allowing for energy to be expressed and transmuted and just seen. But there are also times when I'm doing it more intentionally, and then it does kind of seem like something is coming through me. And so it really depends. I feel like I connect to my higher self a lot, as well as to multidimensional aspects of myself. And so, yeah, there's a lot that comes through. Or when I'm doing it for someone else, like it'll be their higher self or their guide or something like that. And so it really depends on why I'm channeling it, but it can be both. So I'm going to pass it to Brendon and see if he has anything to say about this, but thank you so much for answering.
Thank you, Lacey, for this wonderful question. And yeah, again, it's kind of like this idea that I think the question itself is kind of changes as our consciousness changes. It's like, is there anything outside of ourselves? What is outside is inside. So again, I kind of go back to this idea that, like we as humans ourselves, like we are like these like cosmic antennas, and so like, yeah, you can think of it as like you're kind of like attuning yourself to like this ocean of frequencies, and again, it's like you're in the ocean, but you are the ocean. So, you know, I think with light language, this is a very powerful way for us to be able to practice kind of just like exploring more of the oceans of our intuition. And that can be something that a lot of people might not necessarily have too much practice and experience with. You know, I think to go into light language as a practice, for those of you who may be new to it, really just focus on being able to feel the subtlety, feel the softness, and just kind of let things kind of naturally arise. Try not to get too caught up on the labels and definitions. Let's hear from Lauren next.
Hey Brendon and Isabelle, thank you for bringing up this topic on light language. I am excited to learn more about your wisdom, and yeah, so my question is, do you know which civilizations you're channeling the light language from? Do you feel like it's from your own DNA? Do you feel like it's something from the astral? I believe Luna asked if it's from a certain type of star system. Can we channel different frequencies of light language from the light and the dark? And how do they really help with nervous system regulation? I do feel like light language can help with it, but how do you think it does? Thanks.
Hi Lauren, such a beautiful question, or questions. I definitely believe that light language helps with the nervous system, and this is something I talk about a lot. It really allows us to tap into this parasympathetic state and just receive the frequency. And it does come from a lot of different civilizations, but it's more of a way that people can have meeting grounds, like outside of Earth, or from what I've perceived so far. Like, even if someone is from two different planets, let's say, and they come together, they can still connect and speak to each other through this heart-based expression of energy. And so, yeah, I love that question, and it is definitely from the DNA, from our memory of how to connect to this, because we've done it before. At least I believe so. And so thank you so much for these questions. I'm gonna pass it to Brendon to see if he has anything to say on this, but thank you so much, Lauren. Reflecting love. Hi.
Love this question, Lauren. And yeah, so again, you know, like, is it from like multiple civilizations? Like, I guess, like, right? Like, it seems to be, it kind of points in that direction. Again, you know, it's kind of like this idea that when you start looking into like contact with like extraterrestrial multidimensional beings, it does seem to be that like the foundation of communication is like telepathy. And not just like telepathy, but telempathy, the practice of like empathetic communication. So again, you know, like even when we're talking with each other right now, yeah, you're hearing my words, but you're also receiving this kind of like energy transmission. And this is even more palpable when you're in a room with someone to say something without even speaking, right? So again, you know, like, I think it is obviously from different civilizations, and kind of like what Isabelle's saying, it's kind of like this like neutral space where all the languages kind of merge into one kind of like transcendental language. And so within that, yes, it is a part of like who we are, and perhaps the DNA is kind of like what decodes a language. There's a second part to this. Isabelle's going to share more.
Right, thank you, Brendon. And then moving into the second part of this question, is it possible to channel dark language? And so I believe that it's all within the person who is connecting to the energy. Like all energy, it depends on the intentions. I don't know if this is kind of what you mean, but I've definitely channeled anger and sadness and grief and emotions like this through light language, and it's been very, very helpful. But I definitely think that it is all up to the person that is intending to connect. And so before I start any transmission, I always come into my heart, I breathe, I call upon beautiful angels and divine beings and the highest order of light, and I ask for assistance for only the highest good of myself and whoever's receiving. And I really get clear and set that intention. But I think someone could definitely have other intentions and use it, but I would not. Passing it to Brendon.
So yeah, taking a moment here to be able to explore this idea of dark language. What is dark language? And again, I don't think there's like one specific definition for that. We can kind of approach it from a couple different ways. I do like the idea of thinking of like, you know, like shadow language, and perhaps this is kind of, again, a way to be able to help move the energies that are less seen, that are less conscious. So in this format, you know, like absolutely, like we can use language, light language, like intuitive expression, to be able to help kind of like move those energy blockages, move that energy that's kind of stagnant within our body. You know, like could there there be a version of light language that is like primordial and it's like, like absolutely, like that's definitely a practice in itself. But then again, you can kind of approach this from the other way of, you know, like, oh, is dark language kind of like connecting with like dark entities? Again, I would say like, yes, that's possible. You know, the yin and the yang of the universe is definitely out there, but I think it really comes down to us, the practitioner. And with any of this, you know, just before you get started, I think just visualizing that like egg of white light around you and really setting that intention definitely helps kind of like set the frequency of what you're connecting with. And let's hear from Luna next. This actually relates to her question.
So I'm back with another question. Thank you for this event. It's pretty awesome. I am super excited. But I have another question. So I don't usually talk about this. I mean, I do, but not a lot, because I don't like to affirm things that I don't want in my reality. But I do, once in a while, struggle with depression and lack of motivation a lot of the time, because I'm not a person to be money motivated, and so doing things for money don't motivate me a lot of the time. But I do want to be more of a motivated person, because I don't need to do anything, but I would like to have more abundance in my life, financial stability. So can light language help with depression? Can it heal my depression? Can it help me get more motivation?
Hi Luna, lovely question. I definitely think that light language can assist deeply within the process of healing depression and transmuting, moving through these energies that are keeping us feeling stagnant or stuck in any way, and stepping into that free-flowing energy of embodiment and expression and source energy and wisdom. And so it's no one cure fix, but it can definitely assist within the personal developments and shifts that are necessary to get you to the state that you want to be in. And so I definitely would recommend anybody struggling with feelings like anxiety or depression or grief or anger or anything of this sort to just start expressing light language and bringing sound through and allowing it, setting the intention, like I want to be a channel of energy and sound on my behalf, and bring it through and allow it to be seen and expressed and held by yourself. But yes, passing it back to Brendon.
Thank you again, Luna, so much for your contribution. And yeah, again, you know, like with the discussion of light language, it's very interesting because, you know, light language for some of us, it can become a move we can make. It can become a modality. It can become a way for us to be able to naturally connect with more of our own creative expression. Again, you know, like sometimes what we identify as depression is actually just like energy that's kind of being held in the physical body. So, you know, with this, again, like light language, we're talking about the vocal expression, but light language can also be, again, any sort of movement, any sort of expression of energy kind of like flowing through us. So I think the more that we can give ourselves permission to be able to practice moving that energy, the more we can begin to kind of explore the ways that it will be able to help just alleviate any of those symptoms as well. And, you know, again, I know for Luna as well, like singing is absolutely any sort of like version of being able to creatively move that energy is always going to be beneficial and helpful. And thank you again, Luna, for the question. Let's hear from Melissa next.
Hello, Brendon, and hello, Isabella. You guys, thank you so much for this awesome event. I love this topic. I've always resonated with light language. So I have a question. Does light language work only when you are speaking it out loud, or can it be translated through movement as well? And I was wondering this because I've always felt inclined to share like healing energy through movement and dance and like ecstatic dance and like sending the energy, kind of like almost like qigong kind of thing. But I never knew if that was actually light language or not. Like, so I was just wondering if I could get clarification on this. And thank you again, guys. Much love, and you guys rock.
We're getting pretty close to wrapping things up here, but I just want to take a moment to thank everybody who answered while we hop into Melissa's beautiful question. Is it just spoken, or can it be channeled through movement as well? And this is great. Thank you so much for asking this, because I found that for me, they move so well together. Sometimes it comes almost symbiotically, where as I start to connect to sound, my hands will begin to move and do crazy things. And I've heard people talk about like the hands as connecting to air spirits, which is so beautiful, and I love that, and I definitely can see that. And so this is a way that I often just move energy through for myself when I can't just start like speaking light language. Or yeah, like I dance a lot too, and I definitely believe that that is like was mentioned earlier, light codes. So passing it to Brendon to respond to this. Thank you.
Thank you again, Melissa, for your contribution. And yeah, you know, it's really interesting to be able to just kind of like notice that even through doing light language for myself, how I naturally like want to be able to move the body and move the energy. Again, it's kind of like connecting with this kind of like chi energy where you can kind of like feel and flow. And absolutely through a lot of like my own like personal exercises and movement, that's a lot of what I do. A lot of it is just kind of like being one with how the energy wants to move. So again, you know, with light language, it's going to be different for each and every single person, and stop getting caught up on the concept of language. You know, like what is essentially happening is just like light energy moving, you know, like that's all it is. Sometimes it comes out as language, sometimes it comes out as movement, but the practice here being to be able to, again, kind of like become self-aware of any blockages that we may be holding in our head and give ourselves permission to really play, to really dance, to really be able to liberate ourselves through movement of any form. This has been an absolutely wonderful event, and we're just going to take a moment here to wrap things up, and we'll get close to the end, but we got more to come. So thank you again, everyone, so much for being a part of this event. We're not completely done yet. This is our last call for anyone who would like to be able to submit some responses live or afterwards, sharing any gratitude, maybe something that you just want to be able to express based on what this event meant to you, as well as any sort of last minute light language, light code expressions that you want to be able to share. Again, this can be spoken, maybe it can be dance, whatever you want that wants to come through. We hope this event has really just, again, created a space to be able to help you not only learn more about light language, but also help you feel a little bit more safe and secure and excited about being able to practice it if you feel called. And yeah, we're going to take an opportunity here to just kind of like begin to move into the conclusion of the event, but myself and Isabelle are actually going to do a little bit more light language transmission practice, and we thank you guys so much for holding space for us here as well. So I'm going to pass it over to Isabelle. She'll talk a little bit more, and then we'll get into a little bit more, maybe hear from a couple more people.
All right, so I just want to thank everybody once again for tuning in, for being here. It's such an honor to connect and to share some of the things that I've learned along the way. And I just wanted to add, I'm going to share a bit more light language before we close up. But for people tuning in and wanting to connect to this for themselves, I really just want to just make sure you know how to connect to this. And so what I do is I just come into my heart and I just stay. Like, I ask to be a channel of frequency, of sound on my highest behalf, or if you're doing it for someone else, on their highest behalf. Asking angels or guides that maybe you know, beings that you work with, to work with you and to assist you, and asking to be protected and to just be a transmission, a channel of frequency, of sound. And so I'm gonna add some more light language here in the next clip, but thank you for being here. All right, and so just breathe deep and receive the frequencies. Nauru hata naha shiandua kala terekete empua at rukuta ate ura ashana sahatene kiala huruhua shanaha sukara asya shuhua ala anda sene echura ambawechene kiala sene shurahana sana shuhura shuhua ana ate ekialu ashana ata amue Heriatue enesete echahara hambu hala handea shanu asanatao afeuka wepenesete shiatana kula atala atanese rihamu atanachiala nadia kaukana sanasa satnam. All right.
Allow yourself to just gently breathe. Allow this transmission to take you where you need to be. Santu Kalianta Sakua Ronti Sunto Sala Kantu Sunti Kalasatu Rontasa Shunta Kalasi Santo Si Ro Sha Su Kalianti Santa Su Kanta Hua. Gently breathe. Take a moment here to connect with your breath. When you're ready, gently open your eyes and return your awareness to the space around you. So with that said, we are ready to wrap up this wonderful event about being able to understand and experience light language. So for everyone here, again, just take this opportunity to really just be able to reflect. What did this event mean to you? What did you learn? Please continue to feel free to share any feedback just through the comments on this. Spark any of the posts that you saw today that you might want to start in a new thread, and me and Isabelle can reply to that at a later date. Continue to add your responses. We'll keep the event open. And again, here on Ibble, we always encourage you to be able to create your own events, so you can go back and schedule your own event through the discovery feed. And yeah, we're going to pass over to Isabelle just with some closing thoughts. And again, just for everyone here, this is an ongoing discussion that I encourage you to be able to have. Explore this a little bit deeper. Have this conversation with more people that you know. And if you feel called to do so, begin exploring the many ways in which the language of light moves through you. So with that said, we'll pass over to Isabelle, and then we'll be done right after that.
So much for having me, Brendon. This has been so fun, and it's such an honor to connect with everybody. I'm going to be continuing posting here on Ibble and sharing events on Reiki, light language, shamanic healing, drum circles, poetry, and so much more. And so stay tuned. If you want to connect with me, you can definitely send me a message on Instagram. I'm at Reflections Frequency. And yeah, I'm so excited to continue to share and express, and I hope to continue to connect with all of you as well. So have a beautiful night. I hope you learned something, or day, whenever you're watching this, because time doesn't really exist, right? But I hope you got something out of this, and you're able to take some of these practices and utilize your beautiful and powerful sound as well. And so reflecting so much love, empowering you. So almost forgot to mention that if you wanted to work one-on-one with me, be sure to reach out either on Instagram or comment, and we can try to connect somehow. But I offer quantum healing sessions. It entails light language for sure, but it also does like cord cutting, contract burning, and so much more. A lot of sound healing, work in the DNA and the cells, and cleansing out of the body, because a lot of times our body remembers what we may have worked through in the mental. And so there's a lot that I love to bridge and bring through, and my most important intention is always empowering you to remember that none of this is outside of yourself, and ultimately you are your own healer, and we all have the ability to connect to beautiful divine energy and bring it through. And so if you want to talk more about any of this or connect with me, please reach out and let me know. But I'm sending so much love, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much again, Isabelle. And yes, for everybody here, definitely be sure to connect with Isabelle and take advantage of the amazing services that she has to be able to offer and the space that she holds. So with that said, we are concluding this event. We will keep it open. Continue to add your responses and your replies and your sparks. And yeah, this has been so amazing. I'm so grateful every time that we come here on Ibble. It's a very unique experience to be able to co-create such a kind of dynamic way of co-creating this space for the wisdom that we have been able to crystallize and to be able to turn into a format where now we can be able to receive this experience and this wisdom and be able to carry it with us. So as always, this is an event designed to be able to help expand your consciousness, to shift your paradigm. So we hope by you tuning into this, maybe there was like a new idea that just kind of like sparked, and now you're just kind of like opening up to a bigger mystery of the universe around you. With that said, my name is Brendon. Please feel free to connect with me outside this event as well. Thank you again, and we will see you next time here on Ibble. Much love. All right, and there we go. That was the conclusion of another awesome event on Ibble. Without having to say much, again, just go ahead and check out the links in the info for this video to be able to join myself and fellow conscious creators on Ibble. As I said before, we're going to be hosting regular, ongoing interactive events, so lots to be able to tune into, lots to be able to take part in. And yeah, if you ever have any questions about Ibble, please feel free to reach out and connect to me and ask me any questions, and we would love to be able to help you however we can to be able to help you get set up on Ibble. Again, there's a bit of a learning curve, but once you're on there and following some awesome people and getting more familiar with our schedule, and also if you're connected to the Discord, you'll be seeing the updates there for the individual events that we'll be hosting, plus new threads as well. And we look forward to you being able to create your own threads and maybe even hosting your own events. So thank you again to our Patreon supporters. Thank you again to everyone who listens to this. If you're not already, you can also find us on Spotify under Paradigm Shift Radio. If you're on Spotify on Paradigm Shift Radio, feel free to jump over to YouTube, and wherever you are, feel free to leave some comments of support. We love being able to hear back from you. So stay tuned. We got lots more Ibble events coming your way. Again, I'm live on Ibble every Wednesday at 8 p.m. EST, and then we still have our regular Paradigm Shift Central community events every Thursday at 8 p.m. EST. Thank you guys so much for your support. Until next time, as always, much love, keep it shifty, and welcome to the future.